Hello!
Hey!
Hi.
Hello guys!
Welcome to the second instance of Feria Q&A, everyone. Thank you for your awesome questions. This time it was actually even more interesting than last time around, because last time around we didn't really know how to do this to begin with. It was still pretty rough. There wasn't even nameplates. We have nameplates now. Like right there. That's my name. So maybe we should start this by having everyone introduce themselves and what they're actually doing, specifically at Abracam, not just in general. So how about we start with you, Chris?
Yoo-hoo, I'm Chris, or Helios the Flame. I'm a game designer. I design cards, work on the expansions, chill in the Discord, that kind of things.
All right. Jen?
Yeah, I'm Jen. I'm art manager at Abracam. I work on all the art of area, specifically card art, and like everything in the user interface and like art, illustration and stuff.
All right, David?
Well, I'm David. I'm a lead developer at Abracam, and yes, that's pretty much it. So I'm leading the team, making sure that everything is done on time.
He's just the lead developer of Abracam.
And most of the bugs you've seen are because of me. So
no, actually most of the bugs you see are because of him, and if you see them, it's because of me. So yeah, my name is Marcel. I am the QA lead for Abracam, and I also do some community management. I mean, you might have seen me on the Discord once or twice or like a billion times. So yeah, we have some really great questions today, and we should get right to it, otherwise we won't have enough time to answer them all. So, there's some really big questions in the room that have been burning. Yeah, some really, really major questions, especially like with the transition to buy-to-play. How did it actually work? Did it work out? And I'm happy to say that we are pretty damn happy with how it turned out. Your support was absolutely amazing. The feedback was fantastic. I mean, as you probably noticed, after the release of the Fall of Everlife buy-to-play DLC, we made some changes and adjustments to the economy, since we ourselves were still figuring out how to do this properly, how to make you the happiest, make it fair for the players, as well as not lose out on customers, because that's what it's all about, right? We want to make a great product for you guys, and if you don't like it the way it is, we have to adjust it, and we did. So yeah, thanks for your support. I think I speak for all of Abracam saying that without you, this wouldn't have happened. And yeah, great. Also, purchase the next DLC coming up next week. All right, so another big question that people have been asking is, where's the advertising? And to be honest, a lot of Feria relies on word of mouth and like sharing it with your friends. Our community is small, but it's growing at a steady pace. And I think if we continue our current rate of development and pushing more DLC, more content for you guys, I think we can really make this a worthwhile thing for all of us, for you guys as the players and for us as the studio. So I really look forward to seeing what great stuff you can come up with. We have some fantastic community members that have been putting in amazing work, especially like I want to address thank you Aquablad, thank you Worfs, thank you Scorch. I'm probably forgetting a billion people that I should have be mentioning right now, but thank you guys for making Feria and the Feria community as awesome as it is. So good job, you guys. Also, before I forget it, thank you for Atmos, also known as Gary, working the backend right now. He's in the chat. Say hello, Gary. Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
So, all right. Another thing that we announced last Friday, this Friday, was actually a change in the way the purchase economy will work. We haven't set any concrete numbers yet, but I want to assure you that it will be worth, like, it will not be negative for in any way. It will be purely a positive change. And if you actually purchased any gems or cosmetics after the buy to play release, because that's where we should have actually changed the pricing structure to begin with, you will be reimbursed for, well, sorry, not reimbursed, but you will be compensated for the purchases you've made, and you will receive whatever differences in gem shards, whatever it actually will end up as. You will receive the difference, and you will receive a fair amount, I would say. So for you that have been burning to ask the question, what's happening with the shop? It's kind of ridiculous at the moment. We've been listening to you, and we are working on it. So, how about some more personal questions first to get to know who's sitting with me on this couch? So, a question asked was, do you guys actually play Feria? And if so, what is your rank? Let's start with you, Chris.
Yes, I play Feria. The highest rank I've been is God 1. I think last season I got to about God 10 and then decayed to maybe God 30 when the season ended. There was a chart, but I didn't check. Something like that.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know, right? Gotta start strong. Okay, so my favorite decks are like... I like tempo decks, basically. I've liked mono yellow tempo. I like blue tempo. I like blue-green beasts. Just if it's... Yeah, if it's not aggro but still precious people, that's about my ballpark.
Sounds pretty good. Solid choice. Otherwise, you wouldn't make God rank, I assume. Jen, have you ever played Feria?
Of course I played Feria, but I don't play anymore. But I used to play a lot the old version of Feria actually, and well, I didn't have a rank back then. But yeah, no, I don't play a lot anymore, just to test from time to time. But so I can't really talk about my rank and everything. I don't know if you have another question about that. But,
I think we'll have enough questions for you later on.
Perfect.
So, David, have you actually ever played Feria?
Yes, of course, a lot, and I'm taking notes of the bugs I see even on the weekend when I'm playing, or I'm playing in French too, and so I see sometimes small mistakes, and so I help the translators fix them. But otherwise, yeah, I enjoy playing Feria from time to time. I'm mainly a League of Legends player, but still I play Feria a bit from now and then when we release a big add-on or something like that. And what I like to play, well, it was the old Lord of Terror deck with famine and everything. It was so much fun, the old Lord of Terror. I love that card, and I made like two rank 12 with it, I think. Then it was changed and I rage quitted the game. And finally now I'm just always playing the same deck, which is yellow, green, sacrifice stuff. Yellow, green, sacrifice.
Yeah, that's actually a really good deck.
And this one is pretty much a lot of fun to play, just because you see your opponent, he can't do anything to you. It's just fun. I like messing with my opponents.
Oh, poor opponents. I mean, yeah, yellow-green sacrifice is a pretty strong deck, as we've seen in recent tournament finishes.
Yep.
So I guess, me personally, yes, I do play Feria. I do play Feria in my free time as well. I enjoy the game quite a lot. My highest rank I've reached was top 20-ish God rank. And I did that with my very own yellow-green control deck, which I still not seen anyone else play. You should pick that up. That deck's pretty cool. So yeah. Next question would be, what is your favorite card or card art?
Favorite card or card art? Yeah, as I said, I like sort of these mobile tempo decks. Old cards, I think Mirror Phantasm is really cool. Just its gameplay, its art as well. It's just pretty awesome. And Windborn Champion's also a card I'm really happy to see when it's strong. of the new cards, I like a lot of the recurrence actually. I think they're the tribe I'm happiest with, like Cannoneer, Recruiter, all of them are just good stuff with their value, their sacrificing. It's cool.
Jen.
Yeah, I will talk about card art because I don't exactly play, so it's very hard for me to
choose one of your
to
children.
choose. Yeah, it's exactly that.
She's the true mother of Yak.
Yeah, and of all cards, so it's a bit hard to choose one in all the cards we have. But actually, I told Vincent, our internet artist today, that one of my favorite is an upcoming one, so in the next expansion. So I can't really talk about it right now.
The teaser, that's so mean.
What is the idea of the card?
I won't tell. I will tell you.
Is it an animal or a person?
It's more like an animal, but it's
like
a weird
animal. It's
flying
what
animal.
Flying.
All right,
The massive red sock.
No,
The
it's,
what?
I don't think it's the massive red sock. No, I think I know what card she's talking about. It's a pretty spicy card, and you could say it's one of the flagship cards of the expansion. Well, so David.
My favorite card, well, to play, well, it was the Old Lord of Terror.
The Old Lord of Terror, yes.
Right now, it would be, I think, the Soul Eater, because it's fun to put that card on the board.
Fun.
Or Ostragot. The Door to Oblivion is kind of super fun to play, because when you play it, at my rank, so around 20, people are like mad to destroy your Door to Oblivion, and they do everything on that, while everything on the deck is not about the Door to Oblivion, it's the Soul Eater. And it's quite fun. And sometimes they just leave me, bring Ostragot on the field, and I'm like, dude, why? But yeah, it's kind of fun. So that's for the cards I like to play. Now for the card arts. It's very difficult to choose. There's a lot of them that I like, but I think in the Rakoans maybe, I cannot pick one. The Rakoan War Machine maybe.
War Machine.
Or the Rakopter, and also the everything related to Ghibli movies, like Ghibli inspirations, like Triton Banquet and stuff like that. And more recently, it's I had it. I forgot about it. So yeah, that's all about it.
All right. So, dev strategy: play Door to Oblivion, make your opponent throw everything into it. You heard it here first. Next thing on ladder, everyone plays Door to Oblivion. So I guess for me, it's a pretty simple answer. My favorite card in the game is Lava Surge Axolotl. I mean, I love axolotls. They're like the best animal ever. Even better than dinosaurs. Like, at least 5 steps above. At least 5 steps.
4.5.
Fine. 4.5 steps. Dinosaurs are pretty cool, but axolotls are better. And my favorite art is probably the Maginata. I just love the way...
Mother of Yax.
Yeah, Mother of Yax is pretty cute. And pretty big.
Matriarch.
I just love the way Maginata is like... the whole art just works. Like, if you look at the little details, like this fish swimming in its body, it's like... It represents the whole spirit of Oversky, and I just love that, the way it represents that. Pretty good job on the art.
Yes.
All right, so now for more of the technical questions and more fun questions, I would say. Well, all the questions are fun. Some more than others. So, are you considering adding consecutive rewards for repeating Oversky cooperative missions and maybe single-player world bosses too? So I guess this question could be summarized into, will we in the future change the way PvE rewards work? And I can say to that, yes, we will be working on Oversky. We will be changing how exactly you achieve the cards. And many players have noted and realized that right now there's no way of obtaining golden Oversky cards outside of having pre-ordered Oversky way back in the day, or doing the event. It was some event around the Oversky release which enabled you to get the golden Oversky cards, which is not possible anymore. But I can assure you, you will be able to get the golden Oversky cards again in the future.
Yeah, just in general, I'd say for Oversky, we did the changes quite fast. It made sense to us to say, oh, you don't have to buy these anymore. Then we should probably have the cards related to completing Oversky rather than, I guess, just putting them in the general pool. But I mean, they were originally designed to be optional missions because you'd get the cards on purpose, so some of them are really hard. So we're definitely looking at ways of changing this to make it easier for people to get Oversky cards. In terms of increasing rewards for repeatedly beating Oversky and world bosses, it's a bit awkward because, like, with the rewards world bosses currently give, if you just found one deck that was super good at farming one world boss, like, we don't want to encourage the best way to get a collection to just be find this perfect deck that beats Dark Wisp or whatever and only play Dark Wisp like 20 times a day or whatever. So yeah, probably won't be removing the only rewards once part of it.
All right. I think that should satisfy as an answer for now. You can keep your eye out to the changes that we're going to be making to the system, and we will be addressing it in the future. So, the crafting system, that's a very divisive part of Faria. In the past, it was used to, like, as a pretty standard crafting system, just like you see in other card games like Hearthstone. You can craft mythic cards, you can disenchant your cards. But with the change of buy-to-play, the crafting system also drastically changed. We just recently made a change to it, but there's still some questions that are left unanswered, which would be, for example, will you be able to craft gold cards in the future? Will you adjust it to be possible to do something with the crafting feature maybe once you have a full collection, because right now it doesn't do anything? Stuff like that.
So mythic cards probably won't be profitable, but it's definitely something we're looking at, that like players who have full collection get absolutely nothing from this. I don't know where it is in the backlog, but I know something I would like to do is let people turn their crafting charges into dust once they, not dust, shards, when they have full collection.
All right. So, do you plan to introduce different shapes of the board to promote different styles of play?
So for that one, it's definitely something I'm interested in. But every time, at least for me personally, I try to imagine what would this different board look like that would sort of be kind of general enough to play PvP rather than sort of Hoaka's board, for example, which is like completely game breaking. You know, if you don't know you're playing on Hoaka's board, it's sort of, it gives certain decks huge advantages. And I'm not really sure what these boards would look like to still be quite general, but also fair for different deck styles. So yeah, it's something that I'm interested in, but haven't really found an answer to yet.
All right. Thank you. And David, while you're reading Twitch chat, so this is actually a question that is pretty interesting because it could improve the quality. It's in the recent survey we did. This was actually a somewhat much requested feature. Isn't there a possibility of us adding predefined filters or making the UI more search comfortable? Like, what can we do in terms of adjusting or improving the way people build the decks through the deck building system or the filter system in particular? I mean, we already introduced the subtypes, but it does not actually... there were some problems with it. And right now the only way to actually search for all the new cards would be typing in the full name of the expansion. I guess stuff like that. Is there a way to make it a little easier, more user-friendly?
Well, I think the main issue is that we don't have a clear UI for letting people filter our deck cards. We only have this search bar and the Feria cost filters and the color cost filters. We could add a new window, a new pop-up window with more filters where you can just check a box to see all the Fall of Ever Live, to see all the filters that are available. But I think what would really be nice is something like people would be able to create their own filters and share them on the internet maybe. So that you can import them and say, well, okay, so this filter, when you type, I don't know, YG sack, you see all the YG sacrifice card that you could put in a sacrifice deck. Things like that. And you could share that kind of stuff on, for instance, the hub, so that it would help people that like a certain type of play, a certain archetype, to know that in fact these cards are in the archetype, even if they didn't know about it. So we could investigate things like that. I think this kind of thing, and also the import-export of decks to share with the community, this would be a really interesting feature to develop for us, and very interesting, I think, for the players.
All right, yeah, that does sound pretty sweet, not gonna lie. If we could make something like that, maybe that would reduce the complaints about the filter system by quite a big margin.
It's not a question of can, it's a question of when.
Yeah, I guess that's a pretty accurate assessment for a lot of features. Like, it's like everything needs its time, proper development. All right. So, do you consider adding voice acting to the game? Chris, do we consider that?
Yeah, pretty strongly.
Do we?
Do we?
We do.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Don't we?
Don't?
Yeah, we do.
Don't we?
I don't, I mean...
Yeah, it's something we hope to get on. Look forward to it in the future.
Look forward to it in the future. We might consider it. Do you plan to introduce special abilities for gods? I guess that would be related to the avatar you're using at the time, which would be a little... I could see that being a little pay to win. Buy the cosmetic set with a new god. It has a very good ability. Draw two cards, gain 5 area.
It's not something I'd considered so far. I mean, I don't think area really needs that as an additional complication, but it could be interesting. Certainly for something we definitely do want to do at some point is more solo content, and I think that has a lot of space for more out there things. Like if maybe you have a choice of 3 avatars you can equip for the solo content, and one lets you draw 2 cards a turn, for example. Another gives you more area, or even just, I don't know, one could just be a Bloodsinger avatar that just has that as a default ability. That could be pretty neat. So yeah, it's not something I've thought about too much, but it could be interesting.
Right, could be interesting. So potentially in the future, sometime maybe TM.
Exactly.
So this would be a question for a lore writer who isn't with us right now, unfortunately. Don't worry, he's not dead. He's just in America. Will we get more lore pages for more cards in the future? Which is a very simple answer. The answer being yes. Our lore page writer has been very productive. Yes, producing even more lore pages that our translators can keep up with. So expect some of them to be released over the coming next few months, and then we have a continuous stream of lore pages planned.
There's somewhere between about 40 to 50 new lore pages that are on or that we've got at the moment, with varying levels of having been translated, but at least in English.
All right.
About that many.
So everyone who speaks English, yes. Everyone who doesn't, maybe.
Some.
Some. All right, I guess this ties a little bit into the question of cool new PvE avatars.
Yeah.
Do you plan to do more single-player content?
Yes, it's definitely something we're interested in. I don't know if any of the survey results have been shared yet, but one thing a lot of our community told us they were interested in was single-player content. So yeah, A lot of people on our team also like it. David is particularly a fan. So yeah, whether it's more co-op or like, it would be really cool to do a campaign, but obviously that's a lot of work. You know, puzzles, co-op campaigns. So there will be things. You know, we don't necessarily know exactly what they'll be yet, but there will be.
There will be things.
Yes.
That is a very accurate description for the future content. There will be things.
Yes.
We don't know what things yet. Well, we kind of do, but there will be things.
We know some of the things.
Yeah. We know some of the things. And if you worked in the survey, which lots of you did, thank you for that, by the way. We got a lot of responses on that. You might even have a bit of influence on what the things are in the coming future. So, I guess this is another technical question. David, will there be some improvements to the current Oversky Helper AI and or nerf to the opponent's AI? It seems that some people have been running into trouble beating the Oversky, not being able to get all their cards. So
yeah, I know, I had the problem too.
All right, confirmed. It will be fixed next patch.
So, first thing I want to say is I'm not responsible for that. So, it's not me who is to blame. And don't worry, guys. I'm blaming my fellow colleague developing the AI a lot. Every time I see the AI doing something dumb, I'm saying like, what? I'm telling him. The thing is, AI, for those who know, AI is kind of a difficult stuff in Feria because of, well, it's not like in Hearthstone, where Hearthstone is simpler, it's just cards on a board and it's just adjacency effect maybe. In Feria you also have a bit of pathfinding. Like for instance, the corrupt mechanic was very difficult to handle for the AI at first, and we had to rework a lot of the AI to take into account the corrupt mechanic, and still now it's kind of okay, but could still be improved. So yeah, I think it would be nice to improve the way the ally is playing at least. But I don't think nerfing the opponent would be a good idea, because the way we nerf usually is, well, once in a while the AI will do explicit something dumb on purpose to be simpler to play against. So if we put it like too low at some point, it's like just too dumb. So we tuned it already as we could for the Oversky. I think the only thing we can do is improve the AI of the ally, but probably when we do more co-op content, if we ever do.
All right. So yeah, if we ever need more, so for now, Cheryl will be not getting a player tutorial course from a God ranked player yet, but potentially in the future.
There's also the point though that we do realize Oversky is pretty damn hard. So even if we can't make it easier, we can make sure that it's less mandatory for people who are getting their faces smashed in.
All right. So for now, it's get good or die trying. All right, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a question that was actually has been asked last time around, but we couldn't really ask it because there was no artist in the Q&A. So what was your favorite card to create and work on?
Okay. To create, because I'm not creating card art anymore. Well, myself, I mean, I'm not painting anymore because managing is taking too much time right now. And so when I was creating card art, I think the funniest for me was Triton Banquet, because it's a fun card. It was really nice to paint all those like hungry Tritons and the food and the living. Yeah, I love painting food. It's just fun. And like the living Ghibli inspired creature carrying the food and everything was a really nice one to do. But it's created it like years ago, and it went through many steps. So that's the one, I would say.
Right, Triton Banquet.
Triton Banquet. Yeah.
That's an interesting choice. But
friends somewhere with the Triton Banquet.
Yeah, we actually have a framed picture of the Triton Banquet
picture,
at the office.
Why
it's somewhere. It got lost in the moving boxes.
Why do you think it's an interesting choice?
Because I mean, I guess the easy answer would be something like some epic creature or a very cool character. But Triton Banquet is just, it's an ordinary scene from like just a piece of the Triton life, right? Well, it's like food. It's a little
Yeah.
little black balls. I actually forgot their name in the Ghibli movies. I feel ashamed now.
The little soap
Noiraude
creatures.
in French.
Oh yeah, suit. Aren't they like suit?
I mean, they were soap creatures. I don't remember what they were called.
Little soot boys. So yeah, that's an interesting choice for me.
Well, okay, it was a fun one. I mean, because I didn't create a lot of card art in the end, so I didn't create a epic creature. If I do card art myself, it would be more like very cute stuff, you know, like the unlikely hero or things like that, or the yaks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the yak are pretty damn cute. I think we can all agree on that. Yak cute confirmed. So I guess this is like the opposite to that. What was your favorite to make? Which is, what was the biggest challenge or hardest card for you to realize? Maybe even like in the art process and the validation process. Maybe it went through a lot of different versions and you were never happy with the result. As I know from some artists that in the end, it's not the picture they put up is not the one they're happiest with, but the one that they're least unhappy with. So what was that for you?
So this one is more for like managing than creating, and there were a lot, but I think it's more like a cycle of cards that we call the champions at the time. It's like the Apex Predator, Soul Spirit, Soul Eater, all these like dual color cards, because we really want something super epic for them. And so I was working with two intern artists at the time, and I kept delaying the production because I really wanted them to be awesome-ish, and I spent a lot of time looking after references and everything, and they needed to fit together but be unique, each of them, and be like these two elements creature every time. And so yeah, I delayed a lot these cards. Then one of the two artists I was working on like created super awesome sketches for them and had the idea to put each time an explorer related to the colors. And it took a lot of time for these. And it was hard because a lot of back and forth and everything, but I'm super happy of the results. So
yeah, they're pretty damn awesome. So I mean, the effort was really worth it.
yeah, it was like, and I mean, the dragons were hard too, but more it was easier and very very fun to work on. So, but like a hard card that I don't like, yeah, I like them all.
They're all awesome. Maybe they're not created all equal, but in the end, she loves all of them. So is the mother of all Feria. All right. So with the recent change in the DLC structure, we right now have been announced the next DLC to be coming out next week on the 19th of September. And the previous one was 2 months ago, or almost 2 months ago now, which is every 2 months a release of DLC. Do we plan on keeping that structure? Will we be switching it up? What can the players expect from us in the future few months in terms of content?
So, as we've said before, we definitely want there to be monthly content. It definitely isn't going to be one of these 40 card DLCs every 2 months. I think it's both hard on people's wallets and hard on us to actually produce all of that. But yeah, there's at least one more expansion planned after Resurgence. I'm not sure exactly when it will be coming out. Other than that, yeah, there's going to be other things. There might be smaller DLCs with, for example, solo content. They might just be updates. We'll see.
All right, so you can definitely expect content every month. you can expect something new in Feria every month. And next, another expansion after Resurgence confirmed.
Yep.
Yep. That's pretty exciting. But for now, let's get excited over Resurgence. All right. I guess something that ties in with that as well. With the last DLC, Fall of Everlife, we also released the lore page feature as well as the modified game lobby feature, which both were received very well by the community, and they're accessible to the entire community. They're not paid buy to play or buy to use at all. What do you plan on doing on that front? Is that something that will continue happening?
Which one? Like features for that aren't paid, or
yeah, features that get implemented into the general game rather than being attached to the DLC.
Yeah, those will still exist. I can't say too much about stuff, and I mean, I'm a game developer, but I don't know the full roadmap. But we definitely don't want to say if you're not paying every month, well, tough, you get nothing. Like there'll be more lore pages, there'll be more playable content. We'll see.
All right. So even the free to play players still will get some love. Okay. So just recently on the Discord, someone posted a screenshot from Feria from ages ago now, which has been like 3-4 years back when it was still browser based. And since then, the art direction has changed quite a bit because it went from like blobs to actual cards. But some people are like, well, that looked pretty nice. Those abstract arts. What was the process of like switching it up, replacing the old art and stuff like that?
Okay, it's been more like I guess 5 years ago, but
even more.
I mean, all these blobs, as you said, out were placeholders actually. So it never meant to be like the actual direction of the game, like ever. We just had like 2 weeks to do like 200 cards. So the process was well, for these I just created like dark silhouettes of creatures, and Martin was like the art director. Martin was putting them in a setting, atmosphere, adding effects, etc. And then I started creating like entire card art like this, but it would take me like 2 hours, and it was very consistent because we did everything in 2 weeks, so everything looked alike, and it was cool because it maybe reminded a bit of Limbo or that kind of art, but it was never, the intention was never for it to be the actual direction, the visual direction, and so it was not a switch. It was just placeholders that we replaced by real card art.
Alright.
Card art, I mean.
So the art direction was we put art in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a valid art direction to go into.
I know. I know that a lot of players like this, but yeah.
All right. And before we go to the user asked questions, which you can start asking in the chat right now, Atmos will be grabbing some interesting ones from the chat. So feel free to ask whatever you would like to know about the guys sitting here, maybe the game. Just feel free to ask stuff. David, I guess this is again a more like slightly technical question. Will players ever be able to select unique card backs for decks specifically? So
that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Whoever that was, keep at it.
Yeah, completely. It would even be super easy to do, basically. So,
all right.
Yeah, it's a bit like the deck covers that we finally implemented.
Finally.
It was really nice to actually implement them because we knew people were waiting for that for a long time. But yeah, it would be a bit like, I assume, like deck covers, and you could select your card back. Yeah, that's actually a really nice idea.
All right. So if that's not too much to development, which it doesn't seem to be like, you might be able to expect that in the coming patch next sometime
week,
anyway.
Not next week.
Yeah, let's not go with next week. Let's say next future, like next next sometime. All right, I guess we'll start with some chat asked questions now, which would be. Okay, by the way, if I murder your username, I'm sorry. I don't take any responsibility. Anu Palabdi.
Do it.
Anu Palabdi. Yeah, that's Anu Palabdi, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a deck code system implemented in a different way? If you want a different one to say next, what?
That's from Atmas.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so that was from Atmas. Thank you for putting it in brackets. I'm sorry that I'm an idiot. So yeah, will there be a deck code system where you can copy your deck and maybe upload it to the hub and then just implement it easily in the client itself?
As I said, I think it would be possible quite easily enough because we kind of already have some kind of system like that for the decks of the AI. That it's playing. So we could, I think, extend that so that players could use it, or at least what we could do would be something like you could export a screenshot, complete image of your deck at least, so that you can and put it in your copy paste stuff.
Yeah, in your search bar.
In your buffer.
Yeah.
So,
I think
you could put it in so that you can just paste it in Discord or something like that, and you see directly all the image of the whole deck, and you don't have to manually do several screenshots of it. This at least would be like super fast to do,
right?
And I think would help. As a player, sometimes I was like, why don't we have that feature? So yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's really good to hear. Jen. Do you have any news from TRex, aka the chicken that was first used in the Feria
I remember
trailer?
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't believe that this is a question. I lost contact with her actually,
No.
but I
With a person or with a chicken?
No, it was the chicken. I mean,
You lost contact with a chicken. It just didn't pick up its phone anymore.
I should give her a call soon and check if she's all right.
All right, we will keep you updated with the situation of the chicken called TRex. I didn't know that was a thing. Now I do.
You've seen the video there,
I've seen the video, but I didn't know its name was TRex, which is actually pretty smart because
yeah, it's pretty good.
All right. Oh, by the way, the person who asked that awesome question was Mumu029WE. So Flare Potato Chip asks, any tips for a new dev team working on a single-player deck-building card game? Like maybe something you wish you knew before you started that might be appreciated. David, do you have any tips for upcoming devs? Some rules of thumb they could maybe go by, or
Well. It depends the kind of game you want to do, I assume. Like, for instance, there are so many different ways of implementing a card game with deck building and so on. I would say, as a rule of thumb, don't do it exactly as it's done in Feria.
Don't copy Feria 1-to-1.
Sometimes it might be difficult. I mean code-wise. Not game design-wise. I'm just talking technically. But I would say please don't do one class per card. Please don't do that. Or one class per creature, one class for the spells, one class for the cards, and do a complete hierarchy. Just read about all the all the code patterns that you can use and apply them to video games. There are a lot of good books about that. And keep it simple. That's what I would say. Keep it always the simplest as possible, even if it's not the most optimized, just keep it simple. It will save you a lot of time, and now on machines are way good enough so that you don't have to take too much into the optimality of your code. So just keep it simple.
All right, keep it simple. That's a pretty good suggestion in general. That was, yeah, yeah. All right. Rashnagar asks, "Are you sure hate cards like the 5 damage to flying creatures one should exist? Aren't they dangerous?" Question mark.
So I think in this case, the card mostly came about from a flavor standpoint in that we wanted to see the Gargana and the Radiant go head to head. But in terms of the card, I don't think it's too dangerous. We've had punishment in the game literally from its inception, and it hasn't broken anything yet. I think anything that tries to target specific decks too much might be quite bad, but in general, flyers are a bit spread out, especially now that in Oversky all these fish fly. So it's kind of, yeah, it's more just a card you can play in general that will sometimes get a little bit of extra value, sometimes be a bit overcosted, rather than something where you're making a specific meta call that you want to shut out some portion of the meta completely.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. So Cheholic asks, "What do you guys think about the swallow keyword? Is it successful or another quote-unquote slam?" Well, I think we've talked about the swallow keyboard a little bit, especially in the past Q&A stream, where we're not super happy with the state it is was released in. But I'm just gonna take this as a segue to a card that I think has Swallow implemented in a very good way. So we mentioned before that there would be some pretty spicy spoilers. One of them does have Swallow. I will put it on screen right now, and look at that! It's Chosen. It's Moby's lost evil twin or whatever. I don't actually know the law of the card. Don't quote me on this.
There's different types of whales,
Yeah,
just like in real life.
It's a very, very bad whale.
Moby was a sky whale, I believe. This guy is an obsidian sky whale.
Oh wow!
And he was corrupted, and someone called him Chosen, so that's his name.
He's also my face now.
Yeah.
So Chosen. I mean, it's a 6 Feria, 6/6, flying, charge 3. It costs 5 wildlands, which is quite a bit to ask for, but not too much. And the interesting part is when this creature kills something in combat, it instead swallows it, and you gain control of it. So, what does that imply? Anything that is less than 6 power, that it doesn't kill, well, if it gets killed in the trade, it won't swallow, because there's nothing left to be able to eat your opponent, but it can hunt on small things, it can hunt Ground Shaker, it can
small things like Ground Shaker.
Yeah, small things like Ground Shaker, very small, 5/6. I mean, that's probably the dream scenario, eating a Ground Shaker, but...
The dream scenario is eating Cypher, and then when he comes out, Cypher eats something else. You
Ooh,
just have this...
That's even more spicy.
Chain of noms.
Chain of food.
You can quote me on that.
Literally a food chain.
Yeah.
So Chosen, I mean, this card is awesome from front to back. The art is amazing. The flavor is amazing. I think the ability is absolutely super cool. How did you first come up with this design? Like, what went into designing this card?
I think Chosen was another one of those cards where we kind of knew we wanted some sort of corrupted Sky Whale, because for better or worse, as a Sky Whale it was very iconic to Oversky, right? So since we're doing another Oversky set, we kind of had to have a whale. And yeah, I mean, I guess if it's a whale, it has to swallow. But as we've been talking about, the initial swallow is a bit hit and miss. I think what we tend to believe now is that swallows, where the person who did the swallowing wants to get the creature out seem to be more interesting in general than ones where they want it to never interact with something again because it might unlock the prison. So that was a lot of it. And yeah, we wanted a big boy, charge leaf flying. Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. I really like the art.
Truly a big boy, yes. People have been asking, if he trades with a creature, will he still swallow it? No, he won't. He needs to survive the encounter to be able to eat its prey. Otherwise, it would be kind of a flavor fail, to be honest. So, Jen, what was the art direction on this card like?
Sorry. What do you mean, what was the art direction?
So, I mean, I guess the concept was big whale that eats
big
stuff.
Evil whale.
big evil whale was the card direction.
At first, we tried to make it actually swallow a sky. So it we kept the galaxy inside the mouse, if you can see it. It has some kind of galaxy texture. But at first, there was this huge part of sky that Chosen was swallowing. But it didn't really work. I mean, it was, a bit too hard to have a good art out of this idea. And it went through a lot of different phases, actually, from gray sky to dark blue sky to finally more like a red-purple sky. And, Vincent, our intern artist, did everything from, start to finish. And but yeah, it had a lot of phases, but I think we had fun on that one.
I have a question.
It's pretty big, yeah.
On this illustration, what is the use has it of the big tusks? Is it for mating or is it for charging?
Going to ask me anatomy question?
I went to the National Museum of Science in New York. I want to know.
Can we get it bigger so we can see these tusks as well?
All right, let's make this picture a little bigger. So this is the whale.
See there.
It actually has tusks.
It has spiky tusks at the front. It looks like it's for combat, probably. Maybe it's for preying on other whales.
It might be just for mating.
Or just for mating.
You think this thing is able to mate? I mean,
not for mating like that. It's just to show that the longer it is, the more robust you are.
It must be that, yeah.
All right.
We wanted spikes to make it evil.
Spikes make things evil. That's a little cliche, but very accurate. All right. So yeah, that's Chosen. I will put him somewhere over to the. No, actually, let me do this. Goodbye, Chosen.
Bye, Chosen.
Bye. So to clarify a few mechanics on this creature, yes, it doesn't need to kill the creature in combat. It needs to survive. Then it will swallow it, and the swallowed copy of the creature will be reset to its base values. So if you set, let's say, buff it to 100, eat a Soul Eater with 99, the Soul Eater will, in Chosen, be reset to 1 attack, 1 life. It will create a base copy of the card, and it will, quote-unquote, heal the card, because you can't really summon a dead creature. So yes, all buffs will be lost, and... yeah, other than that, it will interact the way you would expect it to. So, we have one more floaty water animal boy. He too costs 6 Farrier, he too has 6 attack, but his different stats are very different. This is Thunder Eel. Anything to add?
No, I was just saying the first version I saw was
different color.
Different color. In fact, that's.
I guess once we get around to the art direction on this card, we can speak about the original color and the recolor and maybe why it happened. So, Thunder Eel, 6 Farrier, 2 mountain, 2 desert, 6/4 flying gift. Deal 2 damage to a creature, and if that creature is above an ocean tile, which is not a lake, just the ocean, it will deal 4 damage instead. So any flying creature, beware. You will be thunderstruck. Chris, what was the process on this one?
What was the process on this one? I think this was one of the first cards we made. Let's see. Actually, I think this was another card where it's like, we know this is over sky, we know we want some cool fishies or other aquatic things that are in fact flying. So it's like, well, we want a thunder eel. What should it do? Lightning. So lightning is good against water. Pokemon taught me this. So that's why he can zap guys over oceans. And just generally, it felt pretty nice in yellow red. He's got his flying. He's got his zap. These are both the removal colors. Yeah, I think it leads to interesting choices. Like I think if we had this and the other flying hate card, that would really be a bit much. It would push flyers out to the meta. But this doesn't necessarily hate on flyers. It hates on greedy flyers who decided they could fly off lands. So it's
as
very
well as
possible
aquatic
to play-
creatures.
Oh yeah, aquatic exists.
Aquatic exists. Oh my god, the dev doesn't even know his own game. Yes, it does hit everything that is currently above an ocean tile. Even if you...
Ruby fishes.
Ruby fishes. Poor ruby
Random
fishes.
You could even meteor something with the last word, and then the last word creature
Oh,
drops.
the combo.
Yeah, you could meteor Shozen, and then thunder eel the creature that dropped out.
Wow, that's some next level. That's some next level play right there.
Yeah.
So, Jen, as
Yeah.
was mentioned before, originally the red Sock of Doom was actually a green Sock of Doom. So, what made you change that?
Well, actually, I think that it's been ages that this card has been produced, by the
Yeah.
way. And at first, I think I made a mistake, but the card was yellow-green. Or maybe...
Yes, I think there was a miscommunication, and
There
I
was a
thought it was either
miscommunication, yeah.
yellow-green or mono-yellow.
So it's neither. It's not mono green. It's not mono yellow. It's yellow red.
Yeah, but at first, well, or it was mono yellow when we just did a green creature on a yellow background or something like that. And but then I realized that it was actually yellow red. So yeah, we just changed the colors.
Just change the
We
colors.
just changed the colors. It was pretty easy to do.
So generally, the card itself has a very Aztec feel to it. Like it's like, I mean, you would probably, if you were to think where does a card designed like this pop up, it's like Mexico, that Inca Mayan stuff, right? Like with the armor design and stuff like that. Was there a particular reason why that was the direction you chose, or was that just something? Oh, that's not unfair, and that's super cool.
I don't want to sound like do stereotypes again, but it's Guille, Spanish artist, to work on that, so maybe
So the Spanish make
like Mayan.
Mayan. Okay.
I have a question. Who put armor on the eel, Jen?
Who put armor on
Who
the
went
Jeep?
up to an electric eel and fitted it out with armor?
But you know, it's like the creature of the other sky have to fight back against chaos coming. So we thought that the Rakurans are putting armor on the creatures, so they can be protected and fight back.
All right. So some very poor raccoon had to walk up to the thunder eel and attach armor to its
Like
body.
some of them getting cannons, other people are told go put armor on that thunder eel.
I mean,
you do what you can for the cause.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's one way to serve the greater good. Put armor on the thunder eel. All right. Let us. No, that's both of them. Do this. Hello, you can see me again. So it's already been an hour. You might not believe it, but I want to first of all thank you all for your awesome questions. There was some really fun stuff in there, some very interesting stuff. I hope we clarified some of the stuff happening with Theria itself, the direction we're taking. We're always open for suggestions. You can always reach me, Gary, or Edmas, Helios on Discord. Like if you have any particular points you would like to talk about, stuff like that. We always have an ear open to the community. Again, I want to thank you a lot for answering the polls, the questions. It was some very insightful stuff we read there, and yeah, overall, thank you very much. Thank you for playing Feria. Thank you for joining us on this stream today. Make sure next week Saturday we'll have an awesome event for Resurgence, where we'll be doing another fun event with the new cards. So look forward to that. Also, of course, next week, 1 week, Resurgence will be releasing on the Steam store. So prepare yourself for that. Maybe take a week off work or something. Yes, the stream will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can view it later on. It will also be available through Twitch VOD. And other than that, I just want to say, thank you. And bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.